Welcome back to the Metabolic Compass podcast, where we recalibrate your biology and rediscover your direction. I'm your host, Brandon Soika, and today we're talking about a drift pattern that's easy to miss until it's already in full swing, the withdrawal domain. If you've ever said, I'm doing everything right, but I still feel flat, fried, and fragile, this episode is for you. This is the domain where your body starts shutting down, not dramatically, but quietly. You lose your spark. You can't recover like you used to. And even sleep, supplements, and healthy habits stop working. Today, we'll unpack the three hallmarks behind this drift: epigenetic dysfunction, clogged cellular cleanup, and broken communication between systems. More importantly, I'll show you how to start resetting this domain through subtraction, not addition. And if you haven't taken the drift quiz yet, make sure you do that. It'll show you exactly which domain of your biology is drifting off course and which reset to begin. Head over to the metaboliccompass.com/quiz to take it. It's free, quick, and surprisingly accurate. Let's dive in. Withdrawal drift doesn't show up like a red flashing light. It's more like a quiet dimmer switch turning down the brightness in your body and brain. Unlike the earlier domains like nurture or energize, which tend to throw up loud, visible symptoms like inflammation, fatigue, or digestive chaos, withdrawal creeps in subtly. It's the domain of shutdown. Not failure, not collapse, but retreat. This is when you stop responding to strategies that used to work. You're meditating, supplementing, eating clean, getting sleep, and still feeling numb, unmotivated, inflamed, or chemically sensitive. It's like your body has gone silent, but not in a peaceful way. More like it's gone offline. And here's why. The withdrawal domain governs some of your most important foundational but least talked about cellular systems. These are your cleanup and coordination networks. They include your epigenetic signaling, how your body decides which genes to turn on and off, your autophagy systems, how your cells recycle waste and damage, and your intercellular communication pathways, how cells and systems coordinate across tissues, organs, and hormones. When these systems drift, the rest of your body is left guessing. That's why people in withdrawal drift often say things like, I can't tell what's working anymore. I used to bounce back after rest, now I just stay flat. Even healthy stress feels overwhelming now. My body feels inflamed and numb at the same time. So let's break that down. When your autophagy system, your internal cleanup crew, stops working well, damaged proteins, worn out organelles, and oxidized junk start building up inside your cells. These aren't just cellular messes. They're like static that drowns out the signals your body needs to self-regulate. The result? Your repair systems stall, your energy gets diverted, and your immune response becomes distorted. But there's more. Epigenetic drift adds another layer of confusion. Your body relies on chemical tags like methyl groups to know which genes should be active in a given environment. When you're under chronic stress, poor sleep, environmental toxins, or even emotional dysregulation, those tags start bookmarking the wrong genes. That means even if your DNA stays intact, your body is misreading it. It's like having a perfectly good cookbook, but all the recipes are marked up with the wrong sticky notes. And lastly, you lose intercellular coordination. Hormones, neurotransmitters, immune messengers, they're all part of an elegant symphony your body is conducting 24/7. But when communication breaks down, the rhythm is lost. You may produce cortisol, but it doesn't rise and fall in sync. You may sleep, but your glymphatic system doesn't activate to clear brain waste. You may eat, but your hunger and satiety hormones aren't interpreting it accurately. Instead of flowing from rest to energy, from hunger to satisfaction, from work to recovery, your body feels stuck. The needle won't move. And even worse, when you try to push harder, you regress. That's why withdrawal drift is so tricky. Because it doesn't feel like stress. It feels like apathy. It doesn't look like inflammation. It looks like burnout. And it doesn't present like damage. It presents like disconnection. That's why this domain must be approached differently. Not with aggressive protocols, not with stacks of new supplements, and definitely not with pressure. The way forward here is subtraction, noise reduction, signal restoration. We don't optimize this domain. We unclog it. Up next, we'll explore the three hallmarks that govern withdrawal drift and how they interact to keep your biology in shutdown mode even when everything else looks fine on paper. Let's zoom in now on the three hallmarks that define withdrawal drift: epigenetic dysfunction, disabled macroautophagy, and altered intercellular communication. These may sound like complicated scientific terms, but they explain why your body can feel disconnected, inflamed, and resistant to recovery, even when you're doing all the right things. So let's break them down in real-world terms. Epigenetic dysfunction, the software malfunction. You can think of your DNA as the hardware of your body, fixed and coded at birth. But your epigenome is the software layer. It tells your body how to read your DNA, depending on your environment, your behaviors, and even your emotional state. If you're under chronic stress, exposed to pollution, skipping sleep, or emotionally dysregulated for long periods, your body starts tagging the wrong genes. It silences helpful ones, like those for antioxidant enzymes, repair proteins, or cellular cleanup, and turns on stress response genes even when the actual threat is long gone. The result? You're living in a constant low-grade alert state without any obvious trigger. This is why some people can't tolerate supplements they used to, why inflammation feels stuck, why your system doesn't respond to exercise, fasting, or detox the same way it used to. Because the software has bookmarked the wrong code. It has to be retrained. That's what the withdrawal reset is about: creating the right cues in your environment, your food, your light exposure, your sleep rhythm, so your body can start rewriting those bookmarks the right way. Disabled macroautophagy, the garbage buildup that clogs the signal. Autophagy is one of the body's most ancient and important processes. It literally means self-eating, but not in a bad way. It's your cell's way of recycling broken parts, clearing out waste, and making room for regeneration. Macroautophagy is the big picture version of this process. It clears damaged mitochondria, misfolded proteins, and viral debris from the system. But when autophagy is impaired, whether from poor sleep, toxic load, metabolic stress, or nutrient imbalance, this cleanup system slows down. Just like a factory overwhelmed with trash, everything begins to back up. Your cells get jammed with oxidized junk, your mitochondria lose their ability to produce clean energy, your immune system mistakes damaged debris for infection, and your recovery systems go offline because the signal is too noisy to interpret. One of the goals in the withdrawal reset is to reduce that noise, not by throwing more supplements at the problem, but by removing obstacles. Things like improving sleep timing, balancing protein intake, restoring bile flow, and gently activating autophagy with polyphenols or time-restricted eating. We'll get into the actual strategies later, but for now, just remember, you can't fix what you can't clear. And when autophagy fails, your body becomes a cluttered storage unit instead of a dynamic, adaptive machine. And lastly, altered intercellular communication, the static between systems. Your body is a web of constant conversation. Immune cells talk to your brain, your liver talks to your gut, your mitochondria send signals to your nucleus. Hormones rise and fall in sync with light, food, and movement. But when communication between these systems breaks down, everything becomes disorganized. You might still have hormones like melatonin, cortisol, or insulin, but their timing is off. You might still eat well, but your hunger and satiety signals don't match your needs. You might rest, but your brain doesn't use that rest to restore function. It's like trying to run a business where everyone's talking over each other on broken walkie-talkies. This is where you get sleep that doesn't feel restorative, brain fog that doesn't lift, immune overreaction without a clear threat, and mood swings that feel unexplainable. That's why part of this reset focuses on restoring rhythm, not just hitting macros or tracking data. We use light cues, meal timing, emotional regulation, and movement patterns to resynchronize the system. These three hallmarks don't operate in isolation. They amplify each other. Epigenetic dysfunction silences the genes that activate autophagy. Lack of autophagy means damaged parts keep sending false signals, jamming up communication lines. Broken intercellular communication leads to misregulated stress and immune responses, which, in turn, worsens epigenetic drift. It's a constant feedback loop. And that's why people stuck in withdrawal drift feel like their body is shutting down, or worse, betraying them. But your body isn't betraying you. It's just buried under too much noise. The real key is to remove the interference, not force performance. In the next segment, we'll talk about tools you can use, scientifically validated ones, to gently bring your systems back online. Because once your body can hear again, it knows what to do. Now that we've unpacked the three major hallmarks, epigenetic dysfunction, blocked autophagy, and broken cellular communication, the question becomes, how do we start healing? Not in a flashy, overnight detox tea kind of way, but in a grounded biology first, systems reset kind of way. The truth is, when you're in withdrawal drift, most conventional wellness advice can make you worse. Why? Because your body isn't asking for optimization, it's asking for relief from interference. This phase is about listening, not pushing. Here are the tools supported by research that help turn down the noise and bring the signal back online. Butyrate, the unsung peacekeeper. Let's start with one of the most underrated molecules in human health. Butyrate is a short-chain fatty acid naturally produced by your gut microbes when you eat dietary fiber. But when your microbiome is depleted or your gut lining is inflamed, you simply don't make enough of it. Why does this matter? Because butyrate helps regulate gene expression, epigenetics, anti-inflammatory tone, and mitochondrial function. It helps your body relearn how to listen, calming the immune system, reinforcing the gut barrier, and rebalancing redox signals. That's why supplemental butyrate, especially in a bioavailable form like Biomend, can be a game changer. It's not about dosing for digestion. It's about giving your body the molecular brake pedal it forgot it had. Zinc carnosine, the gut wall shield. If your gut barrier is compromised, nothing else you do will land. Zinc carnosine is a compound that helps repair and stabilize the mucosal lining of your stomach and intestines. It's been shown in clinical studies to tighten gut junctions, reduce inflammation, protect against oxidative stress. In other words, it makes the gut lining less like a leaky faucet and more like a selective gateway. When you support this barrier, your immune system stops overreacting to food, your brain gets clearer, and your body becomes more responsive to gentle input. L-glutamine, fuel for the gut lining. Glutamine is an amino acid, but in the gut, it's more than just a building block. It's a fuel for enterocytes, the cell that makes up your small intestinal gut lining. When you're inflamed, malnourished, or chronically stressed, those cells burn through glutamine faster than you can replenish it. Supplementing with glutamine, typically 5 to 10 grams per day, has been shown to reduce intestinal permeability and support mucosal repair. That means fewer immune overreactions, fewer symptoms, and more energy availability. Immunoglobulins, or immunulin, molecular bouncers at the gut wall. When you're in withdrawal drift, your immune system is like a bouncer who lets in all the wrong people. Immunoglobulins, like those found in immunulin, help fix that. These are proteins derived from bovine serum that bind to toxins, pathogens, and inflammatory fragments in the gut, neutralizing them before they trigger systemic responses. Clinical research has shown that they can reduce GI inflammation, support tight junction integrity, and improve immune tolerance. In plain terms, they help your immune system chill out without suppressing it. Polyphenols, like quercetin and EGCG, molecular peacekeepers. Certain plant compounds like quercetin from onions and apples and EGCG from green tea help calm mast cells, reduce histamine release, and stabilize the gut immune interface. They're especially helpful when you're dealing with food sensitivities, histamine intolerance, and post-infection flares. They don't override your immune system, they teach it how to respond, not just react. That's what the withdrawal reset is about, restoring pattern recognition, so your body knows what's a friend and what's a foe again. Fiber blends that feed the right signals. You've probably heard fiber is good for your gut, but in this domain, type matters. Too much insoluble fiber, like raw veggies or whole grains, can actually irritate an inflamed gut. What you want here is a gentle blend of prebiotic fibers like partially hydrolyzed guar gum, soluble corn fiber, acacia fiber, or green banana flour from resistant starch. These feed butyrate-producing bacteria, slow down motility to support absorption, and reduce inflammatory noise in the GI tract. Start small, 1 to 2 grams, and work your way up. It's not about bulk, it's about signal support. If this seems like a lot, here's the key. You don't need to do all of these at once. pick 2 or 3 core tools that support gut integrity, immune regulation, and mitochondrial calm, and stick with them long enough to create stability. We're not trying to stimulate anything yet. We're giving the system room to breathe. In the next segment, we'll talk about how movement, lymph, and body reconnection fit into the withdrawal reset without triggering more noise. Let's talk about the part of healing that often gets overlooked. You can take all the right supplements, eat a pristine anti-inflammatory diet, even cut out caffeine and fix your bedtime. But if your lymphatic system isn't flowing and your body still feels disconnected from your brain, your progress will stall. That's because the nurture domain isn't just about biology, it's about communication between your gut and your brain, between your immune system and your nervous system, between what your body is feeling and what your brain is even capable of hearing. When these signals get distorted, you end up feeling inflamed but also numb, wired but also depleted, sluggish, stiff, and strangely detached from your own body. The way out isn't to push harder, it's to reconnect the wires by moving, breathing, and reestablishing internal flow. And one of the most overlooked systems in this entire picture, your lymph. Your lymphatic system is like your cellular drainage network. It clears out waste, moves immune cells, and transports fat-soluble nutrients absorbed from the gut. Unlike your circulatory system, though, it doesn't have a central pump like the heart. It moves when you move, which means that when you're sedentary, inflamed, or in a survival state, your lymph can become stagnant. That stagnation doesn't just lead to puffiness or fluid retention. It slows immune surveillance. It chokes out detoxification. It leaves your cells stewing in low-grade waste products that trigger further inflammation. But here's the good news. You don't need anything extreme to get it going again. Let's start with the foundation, walking. Daily low-intensity walking, especially after meals, is one of the simplest, most evidence-backed ways to support lymph flow. When your muscles contract rhythmically, they act like a pump, squeezing lymph vessels and moving fluid back towards your thoracic duct. This not only boosts lymphatic return, but also stimulates gut motility, improves glucose regulation, and supports vagus nerve tone. Even 5 to 10 minute movement snacks can create a measurable shift in your physiology, especially if you've been sitting for hours or feeling stuck in a stress loop. Next, consider diaphragmatic breathing. When you breathe deeply into your belly, your diaphragm acts like a hydraulic pump that massages your abdominal organs and thoracic duct. This is one of the most powerful ways to move lymph and also to shift your nervous system into parasympathetic mode. Try setting a reminder on your phone for 3 deep breaths once every hour. You can even combine this with a short walk or gentle stretching to magnify the effect. Speaking of stretching, fascia-focused movement is another powerful strategy. Your fascia, the connective tissue network that wraps every muscle, organ, and nerve, is closely tied to the interstitial fluid flow. When you spend time doing gentle fascia-releasing stretches like cat-cow, child's pose, or doorway chest openers, you help break up stagnation in both the musculoskeletal system and the lymphatic system. You're not just loosening tight muscles, you're creating space for fluid and signal exchange to happen. And if you're looking for something that combines all of these in one, consider restorative yoga or Tai Chi. These slow, intentional practices have been shown to improve heart rate variability, lower inflammatory markers, and increase mind-body coherence. They also build interoception, the ability to sense and respond to what's happening inside your body. This is a superpower when you're recovering from withdrawal drift, because until you feel safe enough to perceive your internal signals clearly, you won't know when to rest, when to eat, and when you're actually making progress. Finally, don't underestimate hydration. Lymph is a fluid, and fluid can't flow with enough volume and balance. Make sure you're staying hydrated throughout the day, but don't just drink plain water. Your body needs electrolytes, especially sodium and potassium, to support the sodium-potassium pumps that govern fluid shifts across cellular membranes. Add a pinch of sea salt or a squeeze of lemon to your water, especially if you're sweating, detoxing, or recovering from illness. If you're feeling stuck, heavy, or disconnected, don't start with extreme detox plans or high-intensity exercise. Start by moving gently, breathing deeply, and rehydrating wisely, because sometimes the fastest way to heal is to slow down and reconnect. When you're in a state of withdrawal drift, wired, fried, and emotionally on edge, one of the first things to suffer is your sleep. You either can't fall asleep or you crash into it and still wake up exhausted. You're light sensitive, noise intolerant, and reactive to even the smallest changes in routine. The problem isn't that your body doesn't want to rest, it's that the rhythm of rest has been lost. In a healthy system, sleep isn't just a shutdown, it's a reset. During deep sleep, your brain clears waste through the lymphatic system. Your immune system recalibrates, your gut lining repairs, your entire nervous system reorganizes its memory of what's safe and what's threatening. But if your circadian rhythm is out of sync, your body can't access the restoration, even if you're unconscious for 8 hours. So let's rebuild that rhythm from the ground up. Step 1. Anchor your morning. Most people focus on nighttime routines when they're trying to improve sleep, but restoration starts in the morning. Within 30 to 60 minutes of waking, get bright, natural light into your eyes, outside if possible. This light anchors your circadian clock by suppressing melatonin and triggering a healthy cortisol peak. That cortisol spike sets the timer for melatonin release later in the evening. Miss this window and the whole day's rhythm gets thrown off. If you can't get sunlight because of weather or schedule, use a 10,000 lux light box. But natural sunlight is always better. Just 5 to 10 minutes can make a measurable difference. Pair that light with gentle movement like stretching or walking and some hydration with electrolytes. This combination tells your system, we're safe, we're awake, and we're on schedule. Step 2. Delay the caffeine. This is a hard one, but it matters. If you rely on caffeine immediately upon waking, you're likely overriding your natural cortisol rhythm and creating a dependency that worsens fatigue over time. Waiting just 90 to 120 minutes after waking to drink caffeine allows your natural energy systems to do their job first. Then, when you do have caffeine, it actually works better without the crash. Even if you can't delay that long, start with 30 minutes. Progress gradually. And during the waiting window, drink water with electrolytes, step into light, and get your body moving. You'll notice the difference. Step 3. Wind down cues that actually work. Most people try to relax at night by watching a show or scrolling their phone. But those blue light emitting, dopamine stimulating habits confuse your nervous system and delay melatonin production. To rebuild your nighttime rhythm, start with low stimulation environments after sunset. Dim the lights, lower the noise, and put your screens on night shift or use blue light blockers. Build in sensory rituals that tell your body it's time to shift gears. This might be a warm shower, reading with a physical book, or using gentle breathwork techniques like box breathing. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4. You can also use weighted blankets, nasal breathing, or humming to trigger the parasympathetic nervous system. Humming, for instance, stimulates the vagus nerve and helps signal safety to your system. It may sound silly, but it works. Step 4. Use targeted nutrients to support recovery. If your system has been fried for a long time, nutrients like glycine, magnesium, and taurine can support relaxation without suppressing REM or deep sleep. Glycine in particular has been shown to improve sleep latency and subjective sleep quality. It also supports detoxification and thermoregulation, two things that often get disrupted when inflammation is high. Magnesium glycinate or magnesium L-threonate are generally better absorbed and better tolerated than oxide or citrate forms. These can help reduce nighttime wake-ups and support nervous system repair. If you're dealing with stress-related sleep issues, adaptogens like ashwagandha or holy basil, when used correctly and with medical supervision, can help regulate cortisol without sedating you. They're not for everyone, but they can be a bridge. Final step. Respect the rebuild rhythm. The whole phase is about scaffolding, not stimulation. You're not fixing your sleep. You're retraining your body to follow a rhythm again. That rhythm needs anchors, light, movement, meals, rest, but it also needs predictability. That means consistent wake and sleep times, even on weekends. It means stopping the scroll an hour before bed and paying attention to when your body starts giving you new signals. Because when you begin sleeping better without forcing it, that's the sign that your system is stabilizing. Coming up, we're going to explore the emotional and environmental signals that either reinforce your progress or sabotage it. But for now, remember this. If you want to repair your biology, you need to respect your rhythm. When most people think about healing, they think food, supplements, or exercise. But none of those interventions work optimally if your body is still living in a perceived threat state. This is the hidden engine behind the withdrawal domain. When the nervous system is scanning for danger, whether it's from your thoughts, your relationships, your environment, or your internal chemistry, it shifts into protection mode. And once it does, digestion slows, inflammation rises, detox gets backlogged, and energy is diverted away from repair and into hypervigilance. If you've been doing everything right and still feel fragile, reactive, and burnt out, then this is likely the missing piece. So let's break down how to restore emotional and environmental safety in a way that's actually actionable. Nervous system attunement, how you interpret the world. Safety isn't just about what's happening, it's about what your body perceives is happening. Your nervous system is constantly interpreting microsignals, tone of voice, facial expressions, ambient noise, light exposure, even your own internal dialogue. These inputs get processed through the autonomic nervous system, which determines whether your body shifts towards rest and repair or fight and flee. If your internal state has been wired for stress due to trauma, chronic overload, or persistent inflammation, you'll misinterpret neutral signals as danger. This is called neuroception. To retrain that lens, we don't need to force positivity. We need to build in moments of predictability, attunement, and regulation. That could be as simply as starting your morning with a short voice memo to yourself, narrating what you're feeling and what you're about to do. Practicing co-regulation with a friend or partner through 3 minutes of calm eye contact or shared deep breathing. Using music with 60 to 80 beats per minute to downshift your internal tempo. These are neurobiological tools for reshaping the way your system responds to the world. Removing the threats from your environment. The second layer of this segment is the physical environment. Many people are surrounded by low-level chronic stressors they've grown used to, but that doesn't mean their biology has. Let's go through a few. Mold and mycotoxins. These are immunological saboteurs. Even small exposure can increase histamine, reduce mitochondrial function, and dysregulate cortisol rhythms. If you're always reactive to supplements, food, or fragrances, this is worth investigating through a home testing or symptoms questionnaires. Artificial light and blue light pollution. Overexposure at night disrupts melatonin, suppresses deep sleep, and increases cortisol output. The result? You wake up tired, inflamed, and already behind. Noise pollution. Chronic noise from traffic, electronics, or even HVAC systems has been linked to higher resting cortisol and poor sleep quality, even when you think you've tuned it out. Unpredictable or chaotic home routines. Your body likes rhythm. If your day is unstructured, overstimulating, or full of sudden interruptions, your stress chemistry stays elevated, even if nothing bad happens. The goal here is not to make your life perfect. It's to identify your top 1 to 2 environmental inputs that feel dysregulating and reduce them, even slightly. That's enough to start restoring signal clarity in the body. The final piece of this segment is about creating safety through rhythm. Remember, safety isn't only the absence of harm, it's also the presence of order. This is why children thrive with routines. It's also why adults who feel burned out often feel better just by repeating the same morning or evening ritual every day. Here are some practical examples. Morning microregulation. Wake up at the same time, drink the same warm beverage, listen to the same calming song, go outside for 3 minutes. Evening unwind ritual. Dim the lights, do 4 rounds of box breathing, write 3 sentences in a journal, and get in bed at the same time each night. Environmental audit once a week. Identify one visual, auditory, or olfactory stressor in your space and remove or reduce it. Each of these might seem minor, but the compounding effect of signal clarity is enormous. When your nervous system knows what's coming next, it doesn't have to stay on high alert. When it drops its guard, your gut, liver, immune system, and repair machinery can finally come back online. This is the heart of rebuilding the withdrawal domain, because you don't rebuild from force, you rebuild from rhythm. Next, we'll walk through the 2-week withdrawal reset that puts all of this together into one clear path. But if you take one thing from this segment, let it be this: signal safety first, everything else follows. If you've made it through this episode, chances are you're in the thick of withdrawal drift. You're not just tired, you're wired and flatlined at the same time. Rest doesn't feel like it works. And the usual tools that help you push through, caffeine, workouts, willpower, feel like they're making things worse. This is the moment where strategy matters more than effort. Because when the withdraw domain is off course, the systems meant to repair you, cellular cleanup, stress recovery, immune reset, hormone recalibration, go silent. Not because you're broken, but because your biology has gone into low power mode to protect you. So how do you rebuild? Not with intensity, not with punishment, but with a rhythm that gives your cells permission to come back online. That's exactly what the 2-week withdrawal reset is built for. We start small. We focus on restoration before optimization. We support systems that have been stalled, not by forcing, but by listening. You'll be guided through one practice from each of these 5 pillars. Nutrition, support your cleanup systems with polyphenols, electrolytes, and gut-safe nourishment. Movement, not intensity, but consistency. Walking, light stretching, somatic reconnection. Sleep and circadian rhythm, anchoring wake times, dimming light at night, avoiding overexposure. Emotional and sensory input, reduce noise, literally and metaphorically, by limiting overstimulation. Environmental clarity, remove persistent low-grade toxins, allergens, or mold that silently stress the system. Each of these is mapped into a low-effort, high-signal protocol designed to get you back to baseline, not to biohack your way to peak performance, but to earn your energy back one signal at a time. If this feels like the first time someone's explaining what's really happening in your body, pause and take a breath. Because this is the point of return. The moment you stop trying to be better and start rebuilding the systems that make you resilient in the first place. And if you're not sure whether withdraw is your primary drift, or if you're dealing with another domain like nurture or energize, go take the drift quiz. It takes under 3 minutes and will map exactly which of the 4 compass directions needs your focus first. You can find it at themetaboliccompass.com/quiz. In our next episode, episode 29, we're going to talk about the single most overlooked principle in long-term health change, why order matters more than motivation. If you ever felt like you're doing the right things but not getting results, or that one area of your health always lags behind, this one's for you. You don't need more force. You need the right starting point. I'll see you there. You've been listening to the Metabolic Compass podcast, where we bridge cutting-edge science with real-life application to help you reclaim your health, one directional shift at a time. To learn more, visit us at www.themetaboliccompass.com or follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Metabolic Compass. And if you haven't already, leave a review. It helps others find their way back to alignment too. Recalibrate your biology, rediscover your direction.